everybody, I'm Sarah and I'm a recorder player. Today I'm going to give you a tutorial on the beautiful piece Chronicle of a Pandemic Foretold by composer Melika M Fitzhugh. It's a piece for recorder and voice with one performer, so you're singing into the recorder and creating harmonies as you go. It's a really beautiful effect and I'm going to help you how to achieve that with your instrument. So this is one of a number of pieces that Melika composed last year, 2020, as a response to the corona pandemic. There's also love in the time of COVID. She has actually composed a lot of pieces for the recorder. If you check out her website, there are solo pieces, chamber music with other instruments, recorder ensemble. You can go through them all and listen to sound excerpts, and if you want to play any of these pieces, you can write directly to her and buy the score. For this piece today, we have actually made the score available for purchase on the Team Recorder web shop, so you can check that out there below. You can buy it and download it instantly. I'm going to show little snippets of the score in this video to demonstrate techniques, but if you want to play the piece, it's really important to support living composers. So Melika has composed a lot for the recorder. She is also a recorder player herself, as well as many other instruments. And the recorder player Emily O'Brien has recorded some works on this CD over here, so there's a lot. So I'm going to just start off by playing the piece for you. So how to play this music? It's not the notes themselves that are challenging, but it's the combination of the recorder and the voice, getting them to work independently and staying in tune, blending the sound, that is the challenge of this piece. But it's such a worthwhile technique to get into because the effect is so amazing. So let's start off. The range. The score is stipulated for the alto recorder, with the voice singing an octave below. So, if you have a much lower voice, you could be an octave below that. The program notes this piece read, while written for a performer whose vocal range is in this area and who's playing the alto, either line of the piece can be performed in any octave. So if you want to sing it higher, sing it lower, play it on a different recorder, that's fine. She even says it could be a bit odd on Garkline with a performer singing in the bass range, but have at it if that would bring you bliss. So the octaves are up to you. If you want to follow how it is in the score, the way to pitch it is to find that first B flat, sing in unison, then sing an octave lower. Oh, da, do. That's your starting point. We're going to find a lot of this singing and playing is about training your ears to recognise the sound you're going for, because then it's easier to hit every time. So our recorder line is variations of the way the vocal line interacts with that has a few different functions, I guess. We have the drone, where you're just holding one note. Do, do. Then we have a few moments where the voice and the recorder echo each other. And then we have a couple of moments where we actually play in harmony, counterpoint with one another. Do, do. You'll hear that we often start in unison and end in unison. And these are really going to be your anchor points, the moments where you know you've got the same note in the recorder and the voice, and you're going to take a second to blend it before carrying on. Because that's the magic of recorder and voice. You've got these blending and the harmonies and the blending and the clashes, and it's this because your voice resonates so much in the instrument. This produces like a physical effect. I'm getting very excited about this. How to tackle this if you're completely new to singing into your recorder. For the voice, let's start off with that. The key is to be able to sustain a pitch without it wobbling too much. Ooh. That's something you'll need to practice on its own. For me, it helps if I imagine the note traveling, not staying in one spot. Ooh, but ooh. Placement of your voice is important. If it's all in your nose, like humming, no air's gonna go in your recorder. If it's all in your throat, that's also gonna be tense and weird. The way I imagine it is that my voice is kind of resonating in the front of my mouth. Ooh, ooh, and that I'm blowing at the same time. Ooh, ooh. So when we've got that sorted a bit with the voice, what I would do is play both lines, the recorder line and the vocal line, on your recorder until you're familiar with them in your ear. Knowing how it's meant to sound and memorizing this melody, as it were, is vital to be able to put those two together. Just check my tempo. It's not slow, it's moving quite. The tempo moves on at quite a nice pace. This is good for the breathing, as we'll see. And we're also going to be playing the vocal line on the recorder to learn how that sounds. The next step for practicing this is playing the vocal line in time and singing along. So you're practicing matching the pitch of your voice to the recorder. If you're not quite in tune, it will be buzzing quite a bit. The note feels unstable. And then as you get it in tune, that will all disappear and it will sound very pure. If you prefer to learn the vocal line by playing along with a piano, for example, or a keyboard instrument, that's also fine, but I like to learn it by playing along with myself. So let's start putting it together. The first thing we encounter are these pedal notes. Do you remember the three different functions the voice has? For the pedal notes, the tuning is really important. I find it helps to just sing a long note and move my fingers randomly to practice sustaining that vocal line whilst my fingers are doing something else, if that makes sense. Ooh. So I keep checking that pedal note and then doing something different in between, then checking again. So when you're practicing one of these lines where we've got the long pedal note and the melody over the top, I already talked about feeling those unisons and those octaves. They sound really pure when you hit them. This piece also has a lot of fifths. That's notes 5 notes apart. They always sound really pure and resonant as well. It can be nice to stop occasionally and to feel if it's consonant or dissonant. Consonant, it's matching; dissonant, it's clashing. That's a fifth, a third. These echo sections where we have the fifths are more challenging. Again, I would start with unison of recorder and voice just to practice. To get that feeling of singing the fifth, ooh, and then you can start alternating. Interpretation, you can choose to do ooh, moving quite starkly. I like to add a little bit of portamento, that's the kind of movement between the notes, ooh, because then you get this nice little feeling. In its most extreme form, you can hear all the harmonics going. That might be a bit too much, but a tiny bit of portamento, ooh, instead of ooh, could be nice. Also with these echoes, it's not always echo, echo, echo. Sometimes the rhythm is a bit different. I find it really helps to get my score and mark in with pencil lines where everything happens. For me, the trickiest parts in the piece are bar 24 and from bar 33, and that's where we have 2 separate voices moving in harmony. I like to look at these horizontally and vertically. Horizontally is knowing each voice off by heart, and I really mean you can play that bar without looking at the sheet music. You're going to need to do that. Even if you've never played anything from memory before, I'm sure that you can learn one bar. It's the recorder part, and the vocal line is do, do. Before you put these together, they need to be automatic. Then what you can do is you can build it up. I'm going to repeat singing the vocal line, and I'll add the recorder line note by note, okay? Do, do. This process might take you longer. I have practiced this before, but that's a nice way to build it up. So that's looking horizontally. Vertically, I'm going to take each pair of notes, voice and recorder, one by one and memorize how it sounds, that interval. So the first one, it's an octave. If you want, you can check that note that you're singing with the recorder and then add the recorder note on top. I'm doing it quickly now as a demo, but take the time to go pair by pair and really memorize in your ears how that interval sounds. It's going to be so much easier to hit that afterwards. And the last thing is, when you've got all of this singing, technically it's all together to make it into a beautiful interpretation. There are dynamics in the piece. The cool thing is, you can influence your dynamics of the recorder and the voice separately. I like to keep the recorder volume the same, so the amount I'm blowing is the same, but then I sing louder or softer, and that gives me the dynamics. So soft, do, and loud, because that will help your tuning. Breathing! I know you're going to ask me about breathing. So when I first started practicing this piece, I was playing it at a tempo like... The final tempo of this piece is not slow, and it's actually written in a way that you can do each phrase in one breath if you play at that tempo. If you're new to singing and playing, you might be losing your air quicker than you're used to. If you're practicing it slowly, you might run out of air before the end, so you might need to take a breath. I would put those breaths at points in the music that you feel make sense with the phrasing. Take your time and give it musical sense. So I think for this piece, you don't have to snatch the breaths like, I have to continue, but just make it part of the music and go on. The breaths that are marked are actually audible inhalations. You see it in the vocal score with this hum, so hum. Because that's the wonderful thing about this piece. Every single person who performs it will do so differently because they will have a different voice. It might have a different relationship to the instrument they're playing. Maybe you're playing it on an alto or a tenor or a contrabass or a sopranino. If you do get the score and learn to play it, please let me know and send us both the video because we would love to hear it. So these were my tips on singing and playing together in this piece, Chronicle of a Pandemic Foretold by Melika M Fitzhugh. As always, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face down here. Over here's the Team Recorder web shop where you can buy this score. All of the proceeds go to the composer, support live music. And up here is a video I did ages ago on singing and playing together. Thanks for watching and have a great day.